Well, new at 5, divorce and the frozen embryos that are left behind. Should the state have the final say about what happens to those embryos?
Lawmakers are close to passing a bill that would require the embryos go to the spouse who is most likely to use the embryo for the purpose of having a child.
Team 12's Joe Dana is verifying whether this law would clash with contracts previously signed between couples. Joe?
Thousands of couples in Arizona right now have embryos or pre-embryos frozen in labs. They do it for all kinds of reasons. The process gives them the option to use that embryo in an attempt to have a child, even years down the road. Science can keep a fertilized embryo perfectly preserved for years. But love is often not so predictable. It's why couples who freeze their embryos typically agree to strict legal language, a contract, to declare who gets ownership of the embryos and what should happen to them in the case of a breakup. 12 News can verify a bill that has passed the state Senate and is waiting for a final vote in the House would make those contracts pointless. Instead, in ownership disputes over frozen embryos, the court would give the embryos to the person who provides the best chance of bringing it to term as a child. If passed and signed by the governor, the law would likely be challenged in court. Opponents argue contracts made between two parties should supersede any law created after the fact. They also argue the law could force exes to become biological parents against their will. But supporters say the law would clarify how to handle frozen embryos, as there are embryo ownership disputes playing out in court around the country. And in fact, this bill is a response to an Arizona woman who ended up on the wrong side of a legal decision about the fate of her frozen embryos. She wants to use the embryos for a potential future pregnancy against her ex-husband's wishes. There's another factor at play here, though, the pro-life movement. Many believe the law would redefine personhood in Arizona. Back to you guys.